Hi, guys, and welcome to Keep Hope Alive podcast. We have a great show for you. She goes by Jay Bay. I like that. And she is a wellness practitioner. She's going to be talking. She is also called I'm going to say I am the healing one. I love it. So, after all those 20 years of experience, she's going to be sharing with us that today. But before we get started, I have a quick question for you, JB.
Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. So, out of the past 15 years, how many weddings have you been to?
Oh. Ah, I would say in the past 15 years, maybe four. Maybe four. Yeah.
Okay. So usually during this ceremony, whether it's held in a church or in a reception hall or they're getting married outside, people will put this one certain thing to collect their guest names of who went. What is that called?
Guest book.
Yay! Good, good, good. I've heard different answers all the time. Register, marriage license, my life away. And I'm like, I make it a surprise question every now and then. So
Yeah. At my wedding, we did something different. I think we did have a guest book, but we ended up having a bird cage where people could just leave love notes and put their names so that we knew they came, but also that those love notes would, speak life into it. So we tried to do a little something different.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, this company I'm about to announce, which is lifeonrecord.com, they're one of our sponsors here. So instead of the guest book, what they do is they have a rotary vintage phone. So when your
Amazing.
guests come in, they can pick up the phone and leave a message and say, "Congratulations, you guys." Or, maybe you have that one groomsman saying, "Well, it's about time you put a ring on her finger." But it's the collection of voices from your friends and family. I feel like that's the best gift in the world. So, and right next to that phone, they have a QR code. So if your guests want to pull out their mobile phone and
Oh,
scan it, they can leave a message either before or after the event. And this really
wow.
goes for any event out there. So it's just hearing those congratulation things. So when all this comes about, they get all the messages and everything, they will either burn it on a 12-inch record for you, or
Wow.
they have a keepsake speaker, which I call the little boom box. So just imagine it's your 1 year anniversary. And I always say, pull up the top cake if you're actually saving it. Sit back and relax and hear your family and friends' voices. I mean, I think that's fun. I don't know when I was married, if I ever brought out that guest book, it just didn't happen.
Right.
But if you hear the voices, it's so fun. I love it. So you get the
That sounds
phone number on
amazing.
your phone for 1 year. Their rates are at $99, which is very reasonable.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, it's just amazing. I tell everybody, okay, maybe it's coming up to the 1 year anniversary. You can remind everybody and say,
Yeah.
hey, before my phone number comes out, wish them a happy anniversary, their first year together. So, and then they'll collect those and you have more voicemail
Aw,
things. So it's
that's
really cute.
amazing.
Yeah. So if you would like to check them out, they can be found at www.lifeonrecord.com. So, J Bay, who are you?
I'm an eclectic little being. So the name J-Bay came about it. It's literally the, first letters of my first and last name, and then I added an E on the end. Just because I had so many different nicknames, people were calling me and was trying to figure out, how to change my Facebook profile and do all these things. And I had certain friends that would call me Jay or Bay. And I thought, I'm gonna put that together. So
That is so cool.
that's how that name
Yeah.
became more popular. And now my clients call me that because it's on Facebook. But who am I in general? I like to say I'm just a little wild child that likes to be a little zany, be a little crazy, and figure out life every day. And right now, that currently looks like, being a wellness practitioner and a wellness trainer. Um, and that really honestly came about because I was trying to figure out how to use all the years of experience that I had, but to express it in a way that really felt good for me. We can build a life, do what we think is our purpose or the intended career, and then kind of realize I like it, but I want to do it different. And
Yeah,
so, just those pivots and shifts of figuring out who I was and how to express it leads me to being this version of me now. Just a little crazy, just a little weird, just a little fun, a little sarcastic, a little bit of everything. But I think that is what makes life spicy. So,
I like that. That's really cool because I try to keep it so real. Like when I started this podcast, I was like, I'm just going to do audio. And then if it's two of my sponsors, well, we want you on YouTube. And I was like, oh, uh, but then I was like, I'm getting my gray hair in. I needed to do, I was like, why am I being so self-conscious here?
yeah,
My hair is just a little bit messed up, whatever, it's me, I'm real. And talking to people, it's as real
yeah,
as we get here. So you've learned
yeah.
to set that aside, which is really cool. So, but
I understand. I
goodness,
went and got my hair cut this morning and hadn't done anything to it yet, but I was like, I'm just gonna hop on camera and we're gonna make it do what it do. So let's go.
I love it. I love it. So now, when you say you're a wellness practitioner, tell me more about what that is.
Yeah. So I always say that I think it means something different for each person. So I love being able to tell you what it does mean for me. And so for me, it became kind of a catch-all phrase because I can do so many things and I have quite a varied um, toolbox of expertise. So
Okay.
I've been in my career path for 25 years now. I started working with catastrophic injuries in home, paraplegics, quadriplegics, stroke survivors, brain injuries, um, autism, spina bifida, you name it, I've probably dealt with them. And then from there, I segued into working with, the general public because I needed a break. It takes a lot to work in home in that intimate setting and becoming part of people's families, in
Yeah.
their daily life. So I needed a break for a few years emotionally. So I took a turn and became certified as a fitness trainer and licensed massage therapist. Went to school for that, all while I was in school for my counseling degrees, because
Oh,
my
God.
intention was that I was going to go into private practice and either maybe one day become, a psychotherapist or a psychologist. And got my bachelor's, got my master's, right? Went all the way through my PhD into my dissertation. So I'm considered ABD, all but dissertation. Um, and I decided that's not really what I want to do. Now,
Okay.
now that being said, when I say that, people are like, "Oh, but you don't believe in therapy," and I'm like, "No, but I do. I absolutely love mental health and therapy. I think it truly can serve its purpose in each of our lives. But I also wanted more freedom to meet my clients where they were and weave in spirituality and whatever
Yeah.
it was that they felt like was pertinent for them at the moment, and not be so restricted, which is what led to wellness focus. Because I think that mental health is not just talking to a therapist, not just taking medication. It can be those things and more.
Yeah.
Well-being is not just going to the doctor and or having surgery and or taking medication and or it's all of the things because it's custom and it's personal for every single one of us.
Yep.
And so that's where the wellness focus came for me because I wanted to work with each individual and figure out, what does it take for you to thrive? What does it look like when you have hit that sweet spot in life and it's just good? That doesn't mean that we get to lie to ourselves and be like, it's going to be rainbow farts and unicorns all the time. It's not. But you really can get to a place in life where you feel well and you feel good, physically,
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, energetically. So that is the wellness practitioner in me, looking at all these different facets of life and working with my clients and students to figure out, what does it take for you? Let's
Yeah,
let's create
definitely.
that experience. Let's navigate that and create that together.
So I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
So you said you work with the people who had a brain injury or stroke victims and stuff like that. I'm going to be honest. I think I've said it on other podcasts. I am going basically to a new neurologist starting today because I think
Okay.
I had some mini strokes and a loss of balance in my hands. I broke my Waterford bowl that's
Ah,
discontinued. And you know
oh,
that's not on purpose, but I'm just trying to figure out the different things that I have. But I lost my balance. I fell forward and hit my own wall. But I like to
mm.
say my wall jumped out at me and hit me. But I like literally, my son was in the room. He's like, I want to see you do some podcast, mom. So it was a teaching moment. And I was just like, I fell to the ground. My ear was ringing really bad. I was like, my head was burning. And I remember hearing my son go, Mom, get up. You have podcasts to do. And I was like,
Ah,
I like, so I did end up going to the hospital the next day, or maybe it was that evening. And they were like, yeah, you have a concussion. It can last 3 days, or it could be a year. And I love how they do that. It's like,
yeah,
I don't want it for a year. And
yeah.
then other things led, I was just like, crying one day, 13 different times. And I was like, why am I crying? Like, what is this? Who does this? I'm not sad about anything. And I told my doctor, like, this is happening. And they said PBA. Have you heard of that? You have.
I have, I'm not a medical doctor or a
Yeah.
practitioner, and but I have heard of it. In my years, I've dealt with clients, like I said, that I've had the craziest injuries and the weirdest
Yeah.
accidents and, paralyzation. And so I literally have just seen the amazement, I guess, of the human body and the brain.
Yeah.
Um, it's fascinating to me that we can, because I've been in a major car accident, actually a couple of them. I was one I was in a hit and run, and my passenger and I, we hit the median wall on the highway, and another one I was hit from behind. And um so I've had different, grades of concussion, um and executive dysfunction is what they ended up calling it, and concussive syndrome. And so I've been
Hmm.
there. It's not
Yeah.
fun. um but the human brain is fascinating because it does figure out how to start healing itself. The body figures out how to start healing itself, if at all possible.
You see, and I just learned the medicine they were giving me for PBA. I took the sample ones, but insurance won't cover it. And so the good or RX card won't cover it. And they want
Hmm.
like almost $300. I was like,
Yeah.
nope, I'm not going to finish the medicine. I'm leaving this in faith and God that hopefully this will just go away too. And so
Yeah.
far, it's been a week and a half since I've stopped taking it and haven't had
Okay.
any symptoms. So, it's mind over matter, I'm learning. Like,
There's
if
a
you can tell yourself this is not gonna happen, you could
yeah.
be strong and heal yourself.
There's a guy that comes to mind. Oh, I forget his name right now. But
Mhm.
anyway, most people have heard of that movie, The Secret, right? Like I think
Yep.
it came out like 20 years ago or something. But he's one of the people in that uh, film, and he talks about how he was flying a helicopter. He had done numerous times before, but this particular day, something went wrong and malfunctioned, and he crashed and basically broke every bone in his body. They life flighted him to the hospital, told him he'd never walk again. Like basically, thought he was going to be a vegetable. If he did anything, it was not going to be walking. He was going to be confined to the hospital bed. I want to say Charles, but I don't think that's his name.
Not
But
Napoleon Hill, that's Think and Grow Rich. The
yeah,
Secret. I
I'm
remember
gonna
I
look him
read
up
that.
now. It's like it's on my mind. But yeah, he shares his story, and this really happened. And he shares his story about how he would visualize himself walking
Mhm.
every day. He'd visualize himself walking through the hospital outside, through the changing of the seasons, through the different temperatures, through the fall leaves, through the winter, walking. And forget how long he was in the hospital, but it was some months, maybe not quite a year.
Yeah.
Um, And he had made up his mind, I think, that he was going to leave by Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken. And he did. He walked out. Now he still obviously
Yeah.
had some challenges. You could tell his throat was still affected, his voice was affected. I'm sure he had other physical things that were happening, but he physically walked out of the hospital. He went from being on a respirator, never going to walk again, never going to have any real quality of life, to walking out of the hospital. And I love to reference that story among many others that I've heard, just because it always reminds me, again, the human body is powerful, the brain is powerful. And this doesn't mean that it's going to happen for everybody all the time, because each of us, I believe, has our reasons and our purposes for being here, what we're here to do, give,
Yeah.
and experience and receive, right? But that being said, we are divine intelligence. And if we
Yeah.
have the capacity, and if we have the faith, and if we have the right circumstances and the right people, there are a lot of things that come into play there, but it really can lend itself to healing and the body
Yes.
rejuvenating and revitalizing itself. And so when a doctor says this is the end of the road, or there's nothing we can do, or you can't function without this medication, or any number of things, there are people all the time that beat cancer, that beat, brain injuries, that beat paralyzation, that beat any number of things, fully recover
Hmm.
from strokes, and, everything else. And so I always am an advocate for balance. Working with the medical system, we've got modern medicine and it's helpful. It saves lives every day. But there's nothing that can beat listening to that inner intuition that says, but I also feel led to do this, right? I'm going to let y'all help me, but this is what I'm being called to do here, and how I need to navigate this
Yeah.
too. Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I've done that. I've learned this the end of 23, and I'm doing it this year, to learn to advocate for myself. Like, because I've never really done that. I've been the one to listen to all the
Mm,
doctors, soak it
yeah.
in. Oh, you're going to try this pill and this pill. And I feel like the hamster on the wheel. Like,
Gotcha.
stop filling me up with pills. Like this, I even told my other neurologist, I go, well, we're going to put you on this. And I was like, well, what's the vitamin that's the same thing? It was funny. His head goes down. He goes, magnesium. I was like, Was that hard to say? I'd rather take a vitamin that's going to help me. So, I mean, it's just, you hear. I went to a seminar about nerve damage, and oh, we can do this and this and this and this and this. But really, I'm like, where's the science? Where is this actually working? Do you have real pictures instead of this, However, like I'm gonna go through this walkthrough with them and just see how it goes, how
Yeah.
it's different. Yeah, so,
Yeah. Well, I
but
advocate for balance. Like I said, I think a lot of people go to the extreme, and
yeah,
here's how I explain it. This is how it makes sense for me. And I'm not saying that this is the one right way, but this is how I have learned to process this and view it. I think each of us comes into these bodies and we begin to operate within a certain capacity. So if we use an arbitrary number scale, 0 to 100, pick a number that doesn't matter, but 0 to 100, right? Not all of us are going to ever get to 100 in our full expression of strength, power, faith, energy, whatever.
yeah,
Some people may operate at a 2, some people may operate at a 5, some people may operate at a 50 or an 83 or a 72 or a 46, whatever, pick a number.
mhm,
And so, where we operate in that expression of our capacity emotionally and energetically, faith wise, right? That all makes a difference in how we're able to navigate healing and
mhm,
wellness and life. Because if we go back to basic, like rudimentary science, we understand that everything is energy, right? Everything has a frequency that it operates in, or vibrates in, or moves in.
yeah,
So we're the same. Each of us as a human being, a spirit in these bodies, has a frequency that we operate in. And you may have a frequency that says, I have faith that is so powerful, it transcends time and it overcomes these physical obstacles and limitations that maybe somebody else doesn't have your energetic or emotional capacity, and they can't quite get there. And it doesn't, and I'm saying it this way because what I've learned is people will judge themselves and think, I didn't try hard enough, or I didn't do enough, or what was wrong with me? Why wasn't I worthy to get this result? Because they got it. And it has nothing to do with any of those things, right? We're just all here to experience different. If we were all
Yeah.
carbon cookie cutter, cutouts of each other, that'd be real boring. So,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it would be.
right? Yeah. So I
So,
think we come here just in our own expression. And I get excited about these kind of conversations when somebody says, I really want to navigate this. I have a friend right now that stopped her chemotherapy with cancer treatments. And she's
mhm,
decided to go the holistic route. And, we don't know what that looks like. But anytime I get a chance to talk to her, I'm always encouraging her, like, listen, if you decide to go back the medical route, I'm still going to encourage you and have your back. If you want to do it
yeah.
this way, I'm still going to encourage you and have your back, because I think that people should ideally have the right to make the decision on what their journey looks like. And neither one is right or wrong. We all just have to decide, do we have the capacity and the ability to walk it out?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, yeah, when you're choosing a career path, like for me, I love, well, I'm a certified wedding planner and a photographer. So being in that event industry pack, I love it. I'm even going to the bridal show tomorrow at the
Okay.
Dallas Bridal Show. And I'm like, I have this energy. I want to learn. And that's what it is for me. Soak it in.
Yeah.
But you make choices in life, and which is
Yeah.
amazing. You got to follow your heart because it's healing. You're passionate about that job. Now, I've been in different industries where I was like, why? But I learned it and I was actually really good at it. So
Hmm.
it's like I can sell a bathroom, I can do gutters. I don't get it. I can help maintenance and cleaning. So as long as you learn about it. And I just talked to my church and I was surprised about this because
Mm.
we just started going back about 3 months ago. And I love it, but I'm taking my time. And
Yeah.
I was calling the other day and I go, I'm looking for a life group that focuses on this. And they go, well, we have grace groups. And I was like, what is a grace group? And they told me that they help people who have anxiety and
Mhm.
depression, but bring faith into it. And I go, oh, can I sit into one of those and just listen? And I go, because I run a podcast, I have people on all the time talking
Yeah.
about their experiences and stuff. But it turned out our conversation, ooh, I was so, she goes, you would be a great leader for this. And it didn't hit me. And I go, I was like, I can definitely do this. Yeah. I go, I can help other people in front of them because if I can do this on a Zoom, be in front of the world, open talk, why can't I be in a classroom? So I'm so excited. I have the book. I feel like I'm going back to school and I feel like it's a real privilege to help
Mhm.
everybody as much as I can. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so now for 20 years of experience with this, I mean, that's a long time. Your journey through this has been amazing.
Yeah,
Is
it's been
there
a
a
lot.
pivotal time? Yeah, is there one memory that just stands out of helping somebody achieve a goal that you would like to share? Oh, I got
Yeah.
you thinking.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I have to go through my mental Rolodex. Honestly, it happens for me all the time because I have learned, I've come to a place in my life where I celebrate the little things and the big things. So every time I get an opportunity to see somebody grow, I get so excited. So right before we jumped on, I had a message come through. I recently hired on a sales girl to help promote and share, and she was a little nervous. I said, okay. But I really saw something in her, like, I want to take a chance on you. And so
Yeah.
she's a little nervous. So we've been meeting and she's been getting comfortable, talking about things and working on things because she's really passionate about like the crystals and just self love and holistic living. And so we've been working on the confidence to get out there and be visual with it. So I got a message right before I jumped on here and she said, I'm doing some videos today. I was like, yeah, at
Videos.
any
Like,
moment that,
good. Yeah.
yeah, like any moment that I get to see, somebody just stand in their power, whether it's a friend, my partner, whether it's a client, one of my team members. That's why I do what I do. And that's what has kept me in this arena for 20 years. I've segued how I do it and how I show up and who I work with, because you have to do it based on your capacity, right? And so, you know, speaking of the times that we're in during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, most of my work was
Mhm.
individual clients and coaching, and I did a lot of training. Well, through the pandemic, it was like, I'm tired, I need a break. And so I had to I had to shift and realize I had to go back to doing more group work. So my course was born, the Soul Nourishing course, because I wanted to train other people to do this work. And so I still do some one-on-one work, but I do more of the teaching and the training now and group work now.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was like, okay, I got to bring a salesperson in because I need to stay focused on certain things and, have somebody else handling other things. And so whether it's somebody that I'm working with or whether it's a person on my team that's working with me, I
Mhm.
just, I love when they have the moments of self-awareness that I could do this.
Yeah.
I'm a total badass. I got this, just seeing that confidence, like, yes, this is why I love this. Get out there
Yeah.
and kill it. You know what I
Your
mean?
energy is so good. I've been wanting to get an intern to help me. So
Yeah.
because I didn't know starting this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm
It's a
getting
lot
a
of work.
lot of emails, a lot of scheduling, a lot of, marketing. And I was just like, this would be so good to teach somebody this,
Mhm.
that's going to college. And then somebody is like, Nadine, this is a lot of work, but I
Yeah.
know you. Are you going to look after them to see they're
Yeah.
doing it right? I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, I probably would be. And they're like, well, that's more work on you. And I was just like,
Mhm.
I'm still praying about it. I want to be able to release that side. And then also, as a photographer, if they wanted to help me get business, I'm going to give them a portion of what I'm making. So,
Yeah.
I was just like, I miss that training aspect and seeing other people glow from it and moving forward.
Absolutely.
That's the real gift inside. So,
Absolutely.
my
And it's
goodness.
scary running a business. It's hard. It's a lot of work. It's fun. It's beautiful. It's worth it for me. But it's definitely a
Yeah.
lot of work too. And so, that's one of the ways that I've had to be strategic so I don't burn myself out. 'Cause
Yeah.
burnout is truly real. And, so I have to be wise about the things that I give my energy and my time to, and then having
Yeah.
other people in place that can support me and support the business, for different aspects of it. Like we automate as much as we can. Talking about scheduling, we automate as much as we can. The only time anybody's talking to me about scheduling is like if it's something that I'm doing like this, or if a client just cannot find the time or a student cannot find the time on the schedule that makes sense based on different things.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, let's check with Jasmine and see so we can get this done. But other than that, I am all about automations, AI, because life,
AI. Oh,
yeah,
I give you
AI is a
credit. I don't want
godsend
to
right now.
touch that unless it's a blog. Because that's a one thing I want it to be personal, my own words coming out, but
Hmm.
I never have time. Like
Yeah,
I just
well, you
sit
have to
there and
figure
go,
out
oh
like
my gosh, there's so much I
you
need
have
to
to figure
do.
out how to use it in ways that make sense. Like I teach my students all the time. There are so many things in business that need your personal touch. Like, me doing this podcast, or yesterday I was doing a training with some business owners on how to build those healthy relationships in business so that everybody grows. And, those obviously need your personal touch when I'm designing my classes, when I'm working with clients and students, et cetera. But if I need to send an email, I'm not going to sit there and stress over it for 30 minutes. I'm going to type out what I need to say and then I'm going to pop it in the AI and ask it to tweak it so it sounds professional. Or like when I was
I
making
guess
some,
I need to do that. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I was
probably
recently
should jump on that
do
bandwagon.
it. I was making updates to my business plan to send to my mentor so he can tweak it and give me some feedback because it's time to update it. It's a new year.
But
And they
there's
have an
certain
AI.
AI, is it an app or is it on
So
computers?
there, like I like Google Bard, I like Chat GBT. The business plan software that I use has their own built-in. the website and the portal that I use for our courses and for our students, it has its own AI, thing built in. But most of them is just like a chat thing. You can pop your prompts in there, tell it what you need, and it'll spit it back out. Now we still tweak it because
Is
it
that
needs to
another
be.
cost? Is it another
Some
monthly cost?
some of them are free and some of them are paid. I think it just depends on which ones you use, or
Yeah.
which level of availability you want from it. But yeah, we
Mhm.
we use it for basic things like that. Like I said, even just sending an email. Okay, blah 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 blah. Help me make this sound more professional, or
Yeah.
help me make this sound more clear and concise. Because ADHD, I'll give you like three stories to tell you one point. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
help me make this clear and concise. This is what I'm trying to say. And it'll tweak it and shorten it and take out a lot of stuff. So it serves its purpose.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm definitely gonna have to. I've been
Do it.
so scared of it lately. Like, no. And I told my son at dinner, I go, do not use AI for any of your essays at school. You need
Oh
to write
no.
this on your own. I go,
Yeah.
teachers should be smart enough to tell the difference between AI writing it out versus you and what you're learning.
Well, they have
So,
software. They have software to check to see if AI writes. Like, just like they
oh,
used to check for plagiarism when I was in college and high school. They have software now that they run everything through to see if it was written by you, if it's plagiarized, if it was written by AI. So
that
you're
makes
not
me
gonna get
feel
away with
better.
much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my son, he's an A student and he's in football. He's doing really good. I'm so
Okay.
proud of him. And the coach it was proud of him, but I didn't know. The coach bought him new football gloves and he's like, "Did you show it? Did he show you?" I go, "No, I don't know where my it's not showing me new gloves." So yeah, he was like, "I made all A's in school and I think that's great that the coach looks after the kids that are on the team too. So that I told him, I need you on my podcast because you're one of the best coaches. And he's like, okay, after the season, I go, okay. So, but yeah, definitely. So, mental health, wellness coach, intuitive work, NLP. I was looking that
Ah,
up because there's a book out there, there's classes, and I was like, maybe I need to educate myself more on this. And then I was coming home, there's a lady on the radio, Delilah, and this
oh, I
girl
like her.
called in and yeah, she was like, you know, guessing about her relationship. It was long distance and da da da. And she didn't know what to do. And Delilah is like, go read the book. He ain't into you that much, or something like that. And I looked, I have a new relationship. I'm really happy, but I did put that book on my Audible. I had my AirPods on last night listening to that. But what was coming out, I could tell my guy was really into me by hearing that book. And I was like, you know what? I should be blessed.
Yeah.
And just, I still want to finish the book because they were giving it like 5 stars. And I'm just like, and it is good from what I heard. So,
Yeah, I
but
remember.
yeah.
I don't think I ever read the book, but I did watch the movie. It was a cute movie, and I think it did have some pretty cool principles in it too. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I like Delilah. I've been listening to her off and on for years. She's been on forever.
Yeah, Delilah. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I look at her. I want to get more love stories onto my
Oh,
show. I have the phone number for people to call in, but it's just not working right now. Like I was like, okay, so that's the route I shouldn't take, is what I learned. And you have podcasts. You
I
have
do.
like two of them. So
I do.
tell us about your podcast.
I
We could talk
do.
podcasts all day, but
Yeah. So the Unapologetic Healer podcast is the more professional one. That is the one where we talk about anything and all things healing and or business. So we're currently in our fourth season. I probably don't record nearly as consistently as I should, but I do enjoy it. It's just a way for me to have amazing conversations with other great people, sharing their wisdom. Some of them I do by myself. And then that's just my way of being able to share, with the community, with the world, to help empower and encourage and give people access to information. that they can use to help themselves. So we talk about
Yeah.
self-esteem, forgiveness, healing, shame, sales
Yeah.
and business, you name it. We've probably talked about it because, sorry, my dogs are barking in the background. But
Oh,
we
it's
talk
all
about it all
right.
because all those things are relevant to being able to, again, going back to where I started, finding that sweet spot in your life, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I work with are business owners and entrepreneurs. And so I wanted to be able to have that space where we could just talk about all these things that affect us so that we don't have
Yeah.
to hide and put our head in the sand. We can deal with it and then find our sweet spot and thrive. And my most recent episode last week, I've still got to get it put up, but I recorded it last week, was with a yoga therapist. And that was an amazing conversation. So I'm
That
excited
is
to
so
share
cool.
that one. Yeah. And then my second newer podcast, the Sip, Come Sip With Us, SIP, or Sex Intimacy Power podcast.
Mhm.
That actually started, it's intense. That actually started about 20, I think 14, 2013, 2014. I was really branching into like online social media for business and really getting out there with
Mhm.
my own brand. And sex, I think, is a holistic part of healing. It's a holistic part of wellness. And so I think it's a necessary
Is
conversation. So I would be all over Facebook talking about sex and like doing podcast interviews and, just keeping it top of mind. And
yeah.
over the years, I started doing my Let's Talk About Sex Baby posts. And then that shifted into my womb healing. We started doing a virtual womb healing retreat every year. And then that shifted into the first Sex Intimacy Power panel that I did, I think in 2019. Then the pandemic hit, so I took another break. And then last year I said, it's time for me to bring it. Like, sex has been such a huge part of the conversation that I've had in these 20 plus years of my career because
Mhm.
people like to think that, well, if somebody's dealing with depression or they've got an injury or a medical issue, they don't want to be touched. They don't want to be held. They don't want to have sex. They don't want to, have any pleasure. That's like the furthest thing from the truth. Is that true for some people? Yes. But majority of my clients were trying to figure out how to get it in. They want to figure out how to make the situation work for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's been such a big conversation that I've always been involved in. So last year I said, it's time to bring this back. Let's. So I put the call out, and a couple of friends said, "Hey, I got you. Let's go." So we started out with two versions. We started out with the daytime version, which was PG,
Uh-huh.
and we would stream it on Facebook. And then I reached out to a friend of mine who's also a comedian, and I said, "You and I have been talking about doing a podcast for years. We should do this. I think you can bring the comedic relief because this can be a really intense topic." And he was like, "Let's go." So then we started the after dark version. Um, that has been a lot of fun. And
That
so
is so
now,
cool.
yeah, so now my friends that started the daytime version with me have changed over and we only do the after dark version. And we still stream it on Facebook. Now we're streaming it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we go live every Tuesday. And we're talking about everything: dating with kids, sex with medical issues, dating with kids with special needs. What does it mean to
Yes.
be a woman? We
Yes.
really get into those raw conversations. Do people cheat?
Yes.
Would you forgive your partner for cheating? Why do people cheat? We talk about everything because
Everything.
I
Yeah.
think that we're grown, we're adults, and these are conversations we need to have because sex is such a big part of our lives. So, yeah,
Yes.
the SIP
And I
podcast.
remember I do have a podcast and I remember getting this. I had two that come to mind and I have another person coming on. So my daughter, she's 21 and stuff, and she thinks mom is just getting old and da 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 da, and she doesn't have an open mind and stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember it was the podcast name is Feral Grace that I have wonderful guest speaker and she did talk about sex. But it's so funny because my daughter is like, "Mom, you'd be like saying no and you're so particular." And she goes, "I'm so proud of you right now." I was like, "Whoa." And then I had another one. It wasn't about sex, but it was about aliens. And I was like, "Okay, well, I definitely want to pre-screen."
Yeah.
And I did. She was so wonderful. Like, and that I look at my stats on my podcast to see, where the numbers are. It's either talking about narcissist, abuse and getting out of
Yeah.
it is high, but the alien one was higher. I was
Yeah,
like,
I can believe
wow,
it.
look at this. And then I look at versus video versus audio only, and those numbers are a little bit good too. So I kind of make
Yeah.
TikTok, they do the video, but I do short versions of,
Hmm.
topics and stuff. So that falls back on everything. But yeah, but the
Yeah.
sex is, I keep hearing about it this year. Want to talk sex? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, we'll bring people on to talk about this. So definitely. But
Well,
your
I think
show, I want to hear it. I'm going to be listening to that probably
I
today.
will make sure you get the link. Like I said, we have a lot of fun, and I specifically asked my friend the comedian to join us because I know that it can be an intimidating topic. I know that it can be a
Yeah.
really heavy topic, intense, uncomfortable, nerve
Yeah.
wracking for people. And so I wanted to just do it in such a way where it's he and I every week. And then my other friends from daytime, they're trying to figure out their schedule so they can join us now. And so it's the four of us. Um, and we say it's after dark, anything goes. Like that's our motto
Yeah.
because we're in 2024, right?
Yeah.
And people
Yep.
are still afraid to talk about sex. And it's like clearly it's something that happens because the world still exists. We're still procreating every day.
Yes.
Babies are being born,
Yeah.
right? It's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to be able to take control of our sexuality, our sensuality,
Mm-hmm.
our physicality, because it can be a part of the healing journey. It can be a part of your self exploration. And having healthy conversations around sex means that you get to enjoy it. Like, who doesn't want to enjoy it if they're going to do it? And
Yeah.
so, so I was like gung ho, like I have been talking about this for 20 years, and it's time to just kind of centralize it in the business now and make it a focal point.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm really enjoying the process of it.
Yeah, seeing it blossom and grow, I love it because,
Yeah.
I mean, for Keep the Hope Alive, I get a lot of life coaches. I've
Hmm.
had, people who've been through abuse, and I get a lot of authors, which I love. I'm trying to bring more health, and I have a
Yeah.
doctor coming on pretty soon, but it's just, it's open to the world. Any story, anything can be heard. And
Yeah.
I talked to somebody yesterday. He wants to be on the show, but he watched all my guests. Well, I'm not as good as them. And I'm like,
Ah,
thinking to myself, you have a voice. You need to be heard. Your
yeah.
story is very strong. So,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things, I don't want people to, judge by, out here in the other world and hearing different stories. So if he's listening to this one, you are coming on my show.
Yeah.
But definitely. Now, also, you have a book out or
I
two.
do. I
Yeah.
do. I have the Hello, My Name is Forgiven. It's a hybrid journal, so it's a book slash journal, and that I published in 2014. Um, and it was just really based on because forgiveness is it's a theme that comes up a lot in the work that I do with clients, and it was a really big theme in my life for some years as well, having to work through things to just get to my own place of wellness and wholeness. And so I created the journal, kind of laying out the different steps and the things that I did that helped me really figure out how to navigate that and get to that place of peace. Because a lot of people think that forgiveness is about the other person, and well, I don't want to absolve them. They hurt me. They did me wrong. They victimized me. They abused me. They hurt
Yeah.
me really physically or financially or emotionally or mentally or whatever it may be. And so I try to educate people from my perspective that forgiveness is always about you. It's never about the other person or persons.
Yeah.
It's always about you. It allows you to have your emotional freedom and energetic freedom, to get your autonomy back, to get your power back, really.
Yeah.
So that book, again, Hello, My Name is Forgiven. It's on Amazon and it's in our Crystal shop available. And then I have a self-love journal. It's called Fuck Them People. Let me just put that out there because it is on the cover page, Fuck Them People. And that title came from a few years back. I was really having to dig deep dive into my own self healing and my self love journey again because of physical injuries from a car accident that I had been in, and just really a lot of health challenges and struggling
Yeah.
through all of that. And I felt like I lost sight of myself for a while. And so I said, okay, me and you, spirit, me and you. And I just went back
Yeah.
to the basics of falling in love with me again. And it was really a theme of nobody else matters before me. Nothing else matters
Mhm.
before me. And so if I've got to choose to let people go, or they got to let me go, or say no to things or miss out on things in order to choose me, then I will always stand on that principle and do that. So fuck anybody or anything that does not allow me to make sure that I can take care of me, right? Or that tries to go against that. So I named the book that, the journal that, because it's literally an entire year, 365 or 366 days of every day writing, things that you're grateful for. I kind of
Yeah.
broke down the basics of ritual because it's basic spiritual habit or spiritual practice, and people do
Oh.
not understand it. So I included that throughout the book, teaching, some many basic rituals, recommending some crystals, some different herbs, so that people could really figure out how to invite it into their own spiritual journey if they wanted to. And so those two are available again, in our crystal shop. And I've got a third book coming out. It's already ready. I just haven't put it out there yet. Shame on me, but it will come out this year. And it's called Confessions of a Healer. Um,
I love
and
it. Can you
yeah,
interview me to be on that? Oh
that,
man, I would love to. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I am working on that one now, and it's just all about demystifying what you have to look like. I do not wear a whole bunch of copper jewelry most of the time. I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I have on like these really simple earrings that you can barely see. I've got on, one necklace.
Hmm.
I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I don't wear my head wrapped all the time. I do sometimes, right? I don't wear
Yeah.
white all the time. I do sometimes, but I don't wear it all the time. I don't dress in all
Yeah.
black. I don't do this. I don't do that. And so I really wanted to start dispelling the myths of what a healer had to or was supposed to look like, or how we're supposed to behave. Like, I love a good juicy cuss word. It's like seasoning to my soul. And so I I am on this journey just to remind people that you get to be you. That's the ultimate healing that you can ever
Yes.
embody, being you, regardless of what
Yeah.
anybody else says or thinks. You are the most important and valuable asset that you have. So yeah, everything I'm doing is centered around that.
That's how I am. So yeah, I did
Yeah,
find out my gift. I'm a healer. And I
yeah.
don't know about you. My hands will get so warm, but
Right.
I call them seasons out of life. They
Mhm.
do go back to normal, but I was at church last week and just like every Sunday, my hands got hot. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, it's coming back. I got so excited. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to tell my boyfriend, like, uh-oh, but, I was like, I'm doing right in the world. I see the angel numbers all the time, like 222, 111. And, my position got eliminated, but the podcast has taken off more and more and more. And I'm like, I saw 222 and I was like, okay, let me go back and read what that means. And it
Yeah.
says to follow your passion and what
Mhm.
you do. And I was like, well, I am. I'm still doing my podcast, but it's kind of like I want to do this full time, but how
Mhm.
do I make a living so I can pay my bills? That's what it comes down
Absolutely.
to. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I'm looking for jobs now, and I just feel like there should be corporations out there that just hire a media podcaster to do all of the stories. Because if you
I
look
agree
at
with
this,
you.
yeah, you look at the websites, I've only seen one, but it says podcast as a link, and it had a long list of their interviews. And I was trying to tell my old boss, this is going to be 2024. You probably
Mm,
need to start doing this,
mm,
and I still will tell anybody that you got AI,
yeah.
you got being interviewed. People want to see that interaction so you can get more business. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
until, people are like, I remember going, I was at karaoke. I have a podcast. You mean a vlog? I
Oh,
go, no, I mean a podcast, not a vlog. I don't sit there and write. Well, I only know vlogs. And I was like, okay, well, whatever.
oh,
And he's like, I don't have time to listen to podcasts. When you're driving, when
okay.
you're exercising, and when you're sleeping, you have time to listen to a podcast.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you don't have to sit here and watch us talk. That's not a podcast thing. You can hear us talk
Mhm.
and just take in the information and learn from it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so if people wanted to find out and talk to you and stuff about everything you do, what are your social medias?
Yeah, they can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube if you type in I am healing one, or just use the little at symbol I am healing one, or like, www.facebook or Instagram or etc.com// I am healing one. You can find us across those mediums. We're also building up more of a presence now on LinkedIn, so you can connect with us there as well, there too. And if they have questions about the services that we offer, if they're trying to find links to the shop or have questions about the soul nourishing mentorship, they can go to www.iamhealingone.org, and it's all spelled out. So that's www.iamhealingone.org. Iamhealingone.org. And that we try to have as much information as we can there. And if for some reason you just cannot find what you're looking for and you need some help, just email us at support@iamhealingone.org. And I promise you we'll get back to you and tell
Yeah.
you all about how we can support you in thriving and finding your sweet spot in life.
Yay, I love it. And call her J-Bay. J-Bay.
J
I like that
Bay, yeah.
name. When I go to do karaoke, I don't know why. I didn't want people to know my name. Usually I get called Nadia. If I say Nadine, they're like, Nadia. I'm like, no, that's my brother's wife's.
Oh
Like, I'm not Nadia. So, but yeah, so I just call myself Jersey Girl. That's my nickname.
no. Yeah,
So,
I like
yeah,
it.
stuck in Texas. Jersey Girl stuck in Texas.
I
But
like it.
definitely. And I hope we covered everything. I know you
I
do
think we
so
did.
much more.
No,
I'm gonna
I
have to
think
bring
we
you on.
did. I think we can
Yeah.
simply sum it up and say that I am a wellness practitioner with a mental health and counseling background. And we work to serve our clients and our audience with creating wellness, whether that be we do now offer mental health and therapy sessions, whether that be wellness coaching, or whether they
Yeah.
want to go through the process of going through the soul nourishing course and learning the healing modalities, because we teach 5 modalities in the course: hypnotherapy, EFT tapping, NLP,
I love that. Yeah.
tapping,
Is
NLP.
it two
uh,
fingers or one?
you can use
Oh, that
either
felt
one.
better.
Some
Hmm.
people prefer one or two. Some people tap on both sides of the body, but we do teach that. We also teach energy and womb healing and how to develop your intuitive skills and Akashic readings. And so we have, students that register for that every month to go through that course with us. And whether it's you want to learn how to do it for yourself because you just want to feel better, you want your kids to be healthy, you want your relationship to be healthy, or you're in the business, and you want to add these
Hmm.
skill sets in place to better support your clients and your customers. So we have those 2 tracks, personal and professional. And at the end of the day, our goal is just to make healing and wellness accessible through
Yeah.
educating and answering questions and normalizing the conversations around all the various topics. So that's it.
That is so cool. I have to call you. I have to reach back out to you. That's just
Please do.
amazing. So yeah, finding self-love in one, I, I've been trying to date again. I'm turning 46. Ah, what a number.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you. But I'm just like, oh my goodness, dating again, I found somebody I really like a lot, and I'm so
Yeah.
excited. But I want to, and I expressed this to him. I go, because of my podcast, I've learned a lot about dating,
Mm,
even more. But, as this goes, I still know I have to heal some things, but I wanna go, like, I don't know, I wanna do a couples class just for the fun of
yeah.
it, just to
Do
learn,
it.
because a lot of people could get divorced, they go into a relationship, but they're just talking, and some questions may get answered, some may not, and then
Yeah.
you're about to move in with the person, and then you learn all this stuff about them, and it's just like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find a route like maybe it's journaling together, learning about each
Yeah,
other. Maybe it's playing a game, like
yeah.
asking these different questions and be like, hey, I didn't know that about you. But yeah,
It's
so
all of that. And I do want to throw this out there before we end. I advocate for people going to therapy or getting mental health support anytime, just because you don't have to wait until you're in active trauma. That's probably the worst time to go, because now you're in active trauma, desperate for help, and you're rushing, 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 trying to get to the place where you can feel better and function again. And so
yeah,
everything just hurts worse. But, whether you're getting married, whether you're going through a divorce, having a baby, moving across country, starting a new career, or just because,
hmm,
I advocate for people having safe space to talk, whether that be a
yeah,
coach or a practitioner or a therapist or a counselor. Because if you can get into that habit of working through things before they become mountains, you have that safe person to talk to and process without judgment. When life inevitably gut punches you, because it will, when that happens, you're so much more prepared to handle it, and it's a lot easier to navigate. I mean, it's easy,
yeah,
but it's easier versus I just got the hell beat out of me by life, and now I'm desperately trying to to find somebody to help me with it. Get help now so that you can navigate when it happens,
yeah.
because it will happen. Life happens.
It sure does. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely. You offered the best service around. Guys, reach out to her.
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to be putting all this information onto our website when
Okay.
I post the video and everything, so they'll have it, which is amazing.
Awesome.
So, and I'll be adding your books and all that stuff. I just want to say thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you
to the
very much.
show. Aw, and I wanted to reach out to our other sponsors really quick and a big thank you to them. As I have mentioned before, we have liveonrecord.com, your interactive guest book. We also have Snap Bands, and their website is www. Snap is spelled this way, SNAPP, and bands is spelled BANDZ.com. So I have mine on top of my Pandora, of course. So, but it says hope. And it
Aw.
has like magnets here under here that help. And they looked at this. It helps us reduce anxiety, stress,
Mhm.
depression, OCD. So this is my first week wearing this. And you know what I noticed today? I woke up so happy, ready and to enjoy this day. I don't know if it's a bracelet or if I'm just falling in love, but it's working.
It could be both.
I have clearer thought. Yay. So, but check them out. They are really cute. They have all the different sayings and everything.
Okay.
Then I got Ogden Ventures LLC, Marquise Ogden. He's a retired NFL player for three different teams. Now he's a keynote speaker, best-selling author. His book is Sleepless Nights, The Success Style. He runs his own podcast too, but you can find him at www.marquise, and that's spelled Marquees, his last
Okay.
name, OGDEN.com. So check him out. Then we have bridalshowsinc.com. If you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, having a special event or even a wedding, they have trade shows. This weekend at Dallas Market Hall, I'll say that, and it's the end of January always, but they'll have other ones too. But it's wonderful. You get to meet the vendors, learn what they do, set up an appointment, or even get pricing. So it's an all-day event. I might just do a live video out there and,
Do
here,
it.
we're about here, da 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 da. So check out
Do
the
it.
Facebook page. So next is milesandSmilesEvents.com. Deborah Rose. Her background is investigating, which is cool, but for many events, she does handwriting analysis and lipstick reading, and she is 100% accurate. My mouth drops open all the time. I've seen her in action. She's amazing. So check out her page. Then we have Bryce Harney, www.brycemagic.com. He is a magician and a mind mentalist. You might have already seen him on different TV stations, but he's traveling across the United States doing big shows. And, I always say my mouth, he's so good at what he does. It's amazing. And then I have richmondpunch.net. Graduated from the Juilliard. He's a violinist for over 30 years. He has performed in front of 1 million people before, and he's just wonderful, guys. You got to check out his playing because it's just amazing. And I know he does. I have a podcast on here. So,
Okay.
I'm interviewing, I already interviewed Richmond, who is on this list, Miles and Smiles, Naomi with the bridal show. So, and then I have Ogden Ventures LLC and Snap Bands podcast coming up pretty soon. So, but our last but not least, TK Hair Salon in Plano, Texas. Women, men, children, if you need a haircut or styling or color or perm or facial stuff done, they are the place to go to, even updos for special events. So if you're coming to Plano or in the Collin County area, this is the perfect salon. But other than that, wherever you find your podcast, you're able to find Keep Hope Alive. Of course, our website is www.keephopealivepodcast.com. Our Facebook is growing. I gotta let you know I made a boo-boo. On a different account, I created the main page for Keep Hope Alive, but I can't get into it. So I had to recreate it. I'm sorry, guys. So I'll be building that up again and getting everything posted and everything. I am looking for guest speakers for Valentine's Day, talking about love stories. So whenever there's an event, it's going to be important. We also have mental health awareness week coming up. So there will be special guests on through that month as well, talking about that. So, but other than that, I want to say thank you once again. Oh, we do have a phone number if you have questions for our guest. It is 833-780 HOPE, which is 4673. So if you have any questions, leave her a little message and I'll get it passed to her and we'll get those answered. But I hope everybody has a great week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You were amazing. And until next time, love and light, guys. Mwah.